Along with individual experts, SurgeonMasters brings you life improvement strategies in 10 minutes. These proven principles and strategies are easy to learn and can be applied immediately, allowing you to practice your best. Here's your host, Jeff Smith.
On this episode of the SurgeonMasters mini podcast, I have with me Dr. Errin Weisman. Errin is a family medicine doctor and the CEO of the Physician Coaching Alliance, and a jack of all trades, doing all things. She likes to say, mother of dragons? Errin, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be back here. I think I'm a three-peater now.
We're glad you're here, and we always have great discussions with you. So I know our audience will enjoy the conversations we're going to have. And I think we've had, they've mixed around in a lot of different topics, but burnout still seems to be a common theme of things in some ways. What's your thoughts?
It's my jam. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm going to keep talking about it until there's not burnout. Let's just put it that way. And so I think we just have to keep talking about it. And if there's people out there who are like, I'm so over this, I'm burned out on burnout, then I'd say you need to check yourself then. Wouldn't you, Jeff?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just knowing that because I'm aware of it for myself a lot of times. And I'll even say to my people around me that I feel burned out on what I'm doing at times, even when I'm very passionate and excited. I think that's true in medicine. You can be passionate and excited about what you do, but still be experiencing burnout.
I think so. But I think you have to check yourself too and say, like, am I tired? Am I fatigued? Is this the short term, like something's been going on? Or is this a long haul grind? And I'm kind of getting into those deeper levels of compassion fatigue, on exhaustion that's not just like, hey, I need a good night's sleep. It's that like I wake up exhausted type thing. And then also I think when you start to question your impact and what you're doing, your purpose in life, I would say that to me is not just like surface level stuff. That's time to really say, like, I do think that those are components of personal burnout that you need to look at.
Well, I mean, you highlight one thing that comes to mind, like in a one-on-one conversation as a coach to a client, it's much easier in my experience or opinion, at least for me, to break it down to try and decipher what that burnout might be in that personal situation. But when I do public speaking or when there's a group, that energy of being sort of sick of the conversation on burnout I find it harder to address because it means different things to different people. Therefore, which part of it are you burned out on the conversation? Or are you actually burned out on something that's actually there as well? And it's hard to nail it with the broader audience, even in a blog or in a conversation with a group. What are you having more success with that?
Oh, no, I would definitely say that people come in with their own preset expectations. They come in with, well, if you think about it, if you're talking to a large group, like a department or even larger, they're dealing with issues perhaps that they've been trying to address for years. And I think really getting to like, what is here when I'm talking to a group, and if it's a space where we can actually like dialogue, where it's a two-sided conversation and not just me speaking up there, I really make people get into their feelings. And I know that like as professionals, I definitely know that like surgeons don't always want to get into how they're feeling, but that's where you have to go to be like, do you feel bitter? Like, is this disgust? It's more than just like frustration and anger, because I really believe those are just like surface emotions where we're just trying to like get off whatever we're feeling on the inside and really digging in down deep. And what I find from those groups who you can just like feel the like disgust of when I come in and I'm a burnout expert and talking to them, most of the time, honestly, it's deep, deep layers of hurt. Like they have been wounded in some ways.
Yeah, and I can relate to that. And I can see that in a lot of these situations where even other speakers are talking. You notice the people that the most frustrated or might make the statement of, I'm burned out on the discussion about burnout, that it is a surface revelation of something that's deeper. So talking about it is important to bringing out what's the more important emotions. What else can you do?
As far as like unpacking the burnout from burnout?
Yeah. And whether it's in a small group, a large group, or one-on-one, you're doing some element of unpacking, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think you definitely have to unpack it. And, I'm a processor. I'm all the time thinking, trying to like roll problems around. And I think this is where it's so important to have safe space to unpack, be that in like what you do with group coaching or one-on-one coaching. Other avenues would be like journaling. Narrative medicine is a huge thing right now, just writing out your experiences and maybe just writing on the paper, be like, I feel so effing pissed right now, and writing out all the reasons and just like getting it out. So I think it's helping people figure out, what's their best mode of processing. Are they a verbal processor? Are they a written processor? I think is so important. And then I think the next step is really then, and it's hard to do, but layering on some compassion, specifically for ourselves, that if we can recognize and get down into those feeling states and, where's the wound at? Because let's be honest, we're all walking around wounded. We just cover it up with our white coats. Giving ourselves compassion to say like, wow, like that really hurts. This is a moment of suck. And really getting into the literature of Kristen Neff, where she talks about like recognizing the moment of suffering, also reconciling that everybody feels like this sometimes, and then giving yourself the exact thing that you would give your best friend, your beloved pet, your child, like a moment of like, I'm sorry this happened to me. Because I think so many times we walk around and we're still like trying to be tough and we're still trying to like keep it all together. But at some point, we've got to love on ourselves as much as we try to love on other people. And so I think that's the next thing. It's like recognizing it, rubbing it down with some good compassion salve. And then the next thing, the third thing I think is really important is learning to put up those boundaries of like, okay, that hurt me before. We're not venturing back there again.
Those are really good, a fantastic overview. I'd like you to almost just reshare them in the simple steps to wrap things up for us.
Sure. So feel the feels, rub on some self-compassion, put up some boundaries.
Errin, you're always fantastic at this. Applaud you for all your podcasting and coming on our podcast today. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, anytime.
There you have it. In less than 10 minutes, this is Jeff Smith along with Dr. Errin Weisman. Until the next episode of Life Improvement Strategies for the Surgeon Who Wants More. Ciao.
Now, take 10 minutes and put your plan into action to practice your best.